doing, folks? My name's Jesse. Vlog entry number 18, March 25th. What have I been working on? Well, I've been working on learning a song. At the school I'm teaching at, they're having a concert, and I've been asked to back up a young man on a song called Verde Llano by a band called Almendra, which is Spanish for almond. And it's been kind of cool because I knew nothing about the band or the song, and it was quite eye-opening. Turns out Almendra was the Argentinian version of the Beatles, according to Wikipedia. They released 2 albums at a very young age in 1969 and 1970, and then broke up. And sort of there was this mystique about them. There were a number of players that were actively involved in other groups and integral parts of Latin music. And so it's been really cool learning about it. And it's really cool learning this song. It starts off really slow. I'm just going to do my job is to back the young man up. So I'm only focusing on the chords. So it's in the key of D. That's a really interesting change. I mean, I'm trying to think of 1969, and what would have been popular. A7 flat 5, G, back to A7. I've never heard of it. I'm learning it from a guitar cover, and I'll post a link to it here. So it does that a couple times, and then I've never considered a D to a G7. And I've heard that sound before. But when I was trying to figure it out by ear, I was a little arrogant. I was like, oh, I can do this, no problem. And I was just like, what's that note? And I think about it, it makes sense, right? The F sharp is the 3rd in D. But then when you play a G7, a G dominant 7, well, G is the 4 to D, but then you throw that flat 7 in there. It creates this really cool dissonance. And then the song goes into double time. The flat 5, and again, something as simple as that just threw my ear off. I had to watch and not just listen. And I was like, oh, that's all that is. Shoot, And then there's a relative minor. And then it ends, at least the version I have ended on the relative minor. Because I didn't know anything about this band, I started listening to them. And it's really interesting to hear it, because there are elements of it that are familiar, like this. It's like, oh, that's like a 20s or a 30s kind of thing, isn't it? Although I'm sure they used it in other decades as well, but it felt like we were about to do the Charleston or something like that. So I've really kind of been uh, listening to it and learning a lot. Their second album was a double album, and there's a song on it called Parva. And I might do a cover of that song just because it's so cool. It's got all the 60s feel to it, and yet it's got one of the heaviest riffs. A riff that Tony Iommi would have been proud to call his own, really. So, now what have I been working on it with? Well, I picked this guitar up, a Peavey T30. I've played T60s, I've played T15s, but I've never really played a T30. And an opportunity came up to get one at a relatively decent price, and I said, well, let's give it a shot. Things I love about it. I love the strat tones. Right? You know. There's a lot of bite and a lot of boom to these pickups, you know. I did like that. Um, Things I didn't like. I didn't like the scale length. Well, not so much the scale length. The scale length is interesting. It's like 23 something. It's even smaller than a Gibson scale. So you can put tens on it and still bend your heart out, which is kind of cool. The neck is really small though. It's like they took a T15 and they said put three singles in it. The proportions are pretty much the same. And I thought I could get past the small neck. I was like, come on, man. Like, it's a guitar. Play it. If it sounds good, it is good. I mean, you can't beat the weight of it because it is smaller and it's that Northern Ash. So it's got some weight to it but because it's smaller, you don't feel like you're carrying around a boat anchor. But the neck, like, I took it to band practice. Two things I noticed. Number one, like, it is harder to make certain chords. Like, there's this one song where I have to go, and making that minor 7 flat 5 to the Hendrix chord. It was a real struggle. It really was. So that was one problem. The other problem was these pickups are microphonic, very microphonic. It was fine. I was playing it through my Vox, whatever the Pathfinder 15 without the reverb is. Great little amp, and it sounds really good, and it's perfect for band practice in a small room. And it's got this overdrive, or top boost, or whatever, and when you hit it, it just goes. It doesn't matter where you have the gain set. When you punch it, it's like, which is fine. And I've been using a Nobles Mini, and that's cool. And with certain guitars, when you put the two together, it's delicious. With this one, when you put them together, it howled like a banshee. And I mean not the nice kind of howled. I mean like the oscillating, squealing, let's develop tinnitus kind of howling, you know? Um, and these pickups are, if they're like other super ferrite pickups, they're epoxy potted, so that's as good as it's gonna get. So I think ultimately I'm gonna let it pass. I'm gonna send it back to, I got a Guitar Center, so I'm probably gonna send it back, but not before I took a chance to play it a little bit. Fun fact: when I got it, the bridge was kind of wonky, and I said, "Well, I'm gonna clean it up and stuff like that." So I took the bridge off, and I was like, "Oh, there's only one post." I was like, "Well, what am I gonna do? Because you can't just get any old post." So I got the thread size, and I bought some bolts, and I cut bolts, but I could never get it, you know, down deep enough. And I was like, "Why is that?" And I'm looking, and way down at the bottom, I see something, and I had a real tiny flathead screwdriver, and I stuck it in there, and it started unscrewing, and it was the post. Someone had screwed this post all the way down to the bottom, which is nice because getting one of these bridges, and it's the same bridges on the T15. Getting one of these bridges with the posts, you're looking at $75 for something that's kind of beat to hell. So it was nice that that this wasn't impossible to get. If I had smaller hands, I would be all over this. If I was strictly a country player, I would be all over this. It's got that country twang. But I'm just gonna have to let it go, I'm afraid. Which is a shame. Like, if you grew up in the 70s, you knew somebody that had a coffee table that looked just like this. um, yeah. It's a cool piece. It's a cool piece, but I'm gonna have to let it go. So what have I been thinking about? I've been thinking about how much I don't know. Learning about the band Almendra was a real eye opener for me. Um, there's so much about music that I don't know. There's so much about great music that I haven't even experienced yet, which is exciting because I'm old, and there are moments where I feel like I've heard it all, seen it all, and I'm just tired. But every once in a while, you find something really cool. You find something that you completely missed, and it's a great learning opportunity. And I'm looking forward to learning more about the band Almendra. I'm looking forward to playing this song with this young man. I have high hopes for it. Anyway, I hope you found this interesting. I hope you found it informative. My name's Jesse, and I'll talk to you later.